yet another episode of Think Through Podcast. Our guest today is Uchenna Opara, who helps professionals and business owners stand out online, not by being louder, but by being smarter. We are talking about LinkedIn visibility, how to show up, get noticed, and build genuine connections that actually open doors. So, whether you're building your own brand or you're hoping to boost your visibility on LinkedIn, this episode is for you. Uchenna, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
The pleasure is mine, Harjit, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, and I am doing awesome. How about you? How you doing?
I'm good. Glad I could connect and we are doing this. I
Yes.
would love to start with your story. I know you're an immigrant. So tell me,
hmm
where are you from? How did you decide on coming to Canada and what actually got you into helping people improve their presence on LinkedIn?
Awesome, awesome. So first of all, I'm from Nigeria, and I am from the eastern part of Nigeria. I migrated to Canada in 2018 December,
Okay.
and I've been here in the province of Ontario. So how did I get into LinkedIn space? So what happened was when I got into Canada, I quickly realized that I had no friends, no family, no community, right? And the only way that I could quickly belong to something or belong to part of a community was LinkedIn. Because I knew that right after school, I was going to have to get a job. And I knew that I was going to need referrals, recommendations. I just wanted to have an idea of what to expect in the workspace before I needed to get a job. So that's what really prompted me to start actually building my presence, not building my presence, actually connecting with people on LinkedIn and getting active in that space. So fast forward 2020 when I graduated, in 2021, 2022, when I got into tech sales, I quickly started leveraging LinkedIn as a social selling platform as a tech sales professional. So while doing all of that, I quickly saw how effective LinkedIn was when it comes to outreach, getting leads, and also the power of brand positioning when it comes to selling to enterprise companies. Because most times those potential clients, they always want to look at your profile. So when I saw the importance of all of that, and when I got some level of experience in my career, I took it upon myself to start building on my personal brand, and that's where it started from. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. So, what was that time when you realized that LinkedIn can actually change careers?
Good point. So when I quickly realized that was back in my sales environment for my tech sales role, because right now I'm not actively in the 9 to 5 space. So what happened was I quickly realized that what the top guys that were performing the most in tech space environment, I noticed majority of them had online brands. Right? They had online brands and they were leveraging it by building pipelines, building their brand while also selling. Because back in the day, we call it social selling, whereby you're selling the social side of who you are through your product, right? So that's exactly what happened back then, and that's what made me understand that social selling is a real thing. Yeah.
Wow, we'll talk about social selling. That's interesting. As for LinkedIn, do you think we are still in that digital resume era or we are something bigger now?
Oh, that's a very great question. So right now, from my experience, I would say we are definitely in a much bigger, much more diverse area. And here's why I say that. Even though I am not actively looking for a 9 to 5 job,
Hmm.
I still have a lot of recruiters reaching out to me, telling me we have an opportunity, take a look. And all I end up doing is referring people that might need those roles to the recruiters, right? So what does that go to show? That goes to show that if one is able to showcase his or herself as a person of value or as a person of a certain level of social influence, inherently it attracts people to you. Um, Most likely people of like mindset.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's more important right now to actually have your personal brand, especially on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
compared to say you just have like a resume and just keep applying here and there. Yeah.
Interesting. Good point. Um, when someone reaches out to you for help on LinkedIn, or for example, when I reached out to you,
Mhm.
what's usually the first thing that you look at in their profile?
Yeah. Okay. So if someone reaches out to me like for potentially working together, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So if someone reaches out to me, the first thing I want to find out is I want to understand. For me, it always starts from the mindset, the why. Why do you want to do it?
Yeah.
So once I figure out why I want to do it and I figure out that I'm able to help you get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
then we could now have a conversation about how I can show you or how I can get you there. But if I'm not able to help you with your end goal,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't most likely want to waste your time. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Mhm.
You talked about social selling, and then you talked about influencing. Um, Around the same lines, if you could give like quick three wins to boost the visibility on LinkedIn, what would that be?
Okay, that's a very solid question. So I'll say three quick wins to boost your visibility online. The first thing would be I would break it down into. I'll mention three things and I'll break it down into subsets.
Yeah.
The first thing would be your banner has to communicate exactly what you're doing, who you serve, and what you're trying to achieve. And
Mm.
there are three things you could. The three matrices for that would be what is your capability, what is your credibility, and
Mm.
what is the expected outcome if people choose to work with you. And that can be all those 3 points could be easily conveyed in the message with maybe a simple sentence,
Yeah.
like what I have on my banner, right? That's
Mhm.
one. Because the number one sales office on LinkedIn is your banner. That's the first thing, right? So you want to communicate that. The second thing would be your bio, exactly right below your name. So what I see that as the second sales platform
Mhm.
or second sales office, whereby you could literally buttress exactly what that banner says. You could just add more flesh to that statement
Mm.
and give it more, just a little bit more detail,
Yeah.
so people are able to understand exactly what you're trying to say. Because most times you don't want to make your banner too wordy or too
Mm.
chunky, right?
Mm.
So that'll be the second one. Then the third one for me would be giving value. And when I say giving value, I'm talking about putting out content that I'll break the value into three subsets also. When you put out content, first of all, it has to be valuable.
Yeah.
But two, when you how you say what you say is
Mm.
way more important than what you say, right? Because there's some people that they love writing, but the way they write what they write, it's not easy for the reader to comprehend.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So you want to make sure you don't fall into that category, right?
Hmm.
Then the last thing is when you're looking to put out content, you want to make sure that your content is to a very good extent something that can invite your audience to
Hmm.
engage with it. It has to be inviting because the only way people can relate to a good extent or express themselves on your post or your content is when you give that room or you allow them to actually jump in and chime in. So
Hmm.
the three things I would say from a high level. Right.
Interesting. Follow-up question then. You mentioned about posting content that gives values.
Yeah.
Either you can be not either or, but then potentially there's one thing being authentic, where you
Correct.
might lose professionalism, and then there's being professional enough in writing where you can lose your authenticity. So, how do
Mm,
you balance between being professional in your wordings and also
mm.
being authentic?
That's a very interesting question. So here's how I put it. From my perspective, anyone trying to build a brand on LinkedIn, you literally cannot have one type of content you want to just keep speaking about.
Hmm.
What I mean by that is you would want to have content pillars. All right, content pillars, I mean you want to have different kinds of topics that are of interest to you that you could
Mhm.
speak to. For example, if I were, okay, back when I was a sales professional, I had certain content pillars. One of them was my love for sales and my journey, my sales career. That was one content pillar. Second content pillar was leadership. And the third content pillar was about my immigration journey to Canada, my story, and stuff like that. So what happened was those pillars gave me the ability to be professional, be inspirational,
Yeah.
and be also personal,
Hmm. Hmm.
all at the same time. All I have to just do is choose a day I want to talk about my career, choose a day I want to talk about my immigrant journey, choose a day I want to talk about leadership, and just keep doing it on repeat. Over time, people will get to know you as a professional that is an immigrant and has certain values. So it all ties in,
Hmm. Interesting. When you talk about these being as pillars, do you
right?
mean like your content should be around, like, for example, leadership, or content should be around your journey as an immigrant, or your content should be around your sales professional?
Correct. That's exactly what I mean. Yes.
Um, in that aspect, what other content pillars do you see that works with LinkedIn really well?
Hmm. That's a great question. So, for my research, the LinkedIn algorithm has, from my research, inherently it has some certain kinds of topics that the algorithm likes or it favors, not for any reason other
Hmm.
than the fact that the platform is a professional platform that has people that have 9 to 5 jobs, and everybody that has a job has a manager, and everybody that has a manager is in one way or the other under management, right? So there are certain topics like burnout, because people who work 9 to 5 jobs experience burnout most of the time, emotional intelligence, when we want to talk about HR and career, people management, stuff along those lines. Then also when you want to talk about things like career development, when
Yeah.
it comes to improving your career, getting more efficient at work, those kinds of topics have the strong ability to really be pushed very far on LinkedIn based off of the kind of people the LinkedIn platform built its community around. If
Yeah.
you get what I mean. Yeah.
Interesting. Are there any profile sections on LinkedIn which usually people tend to underestimate or skip, but that really plays an important role?
Yes, there are a couple. So the very first one I would say that is a very good section that people really shouldn't underestimate is the the featured section.
Hmm.
And the featured section, it could be a very good tool, a very good place to provide or put lead magnets. If you're looking to get, by lead magnet, it's just basically putting a resource or an item that people could download, or in exchange for the download, they provide an email and stuff like that. So that's a good place to put like a lead magnet just to get people to sign up for whatever it is you're trying to build. Then another thing also I would say people underestimate a little bit is right underneath your bio section, you or within your bio section, you have the ability to put like a link, maybe to a website, or a
Hmm.
link to your Calendly link, or a link to a newsletter, giving people the easy way to get access to something is one of the best things you could do for a potential client, right? Rather than have them go scroll down to the bottom, start looking for where they can get your Calendly link or how they could connect with you, or getting them to send you a DM. If you could make that point of connection very accessible,
Yeah.
it makes life easier for yourself and also the potential client.
Hmm. Wonderful point. Um, for people who are worried about receiving hate on LinkedIn, what would be your advice to be online all the time for those?
That's a great question. So the first thing I want to say is even Jesus, I'm a Christian, so even
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was the savior of the world, he was hated. No one, not everyone liked Jesus Christ. So if everyone doesn't like Jesus Christ, I tell myself, who am I not to experience hate, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would say. And the second thing I could say to that is when we choose to live our lives from a perspective or live our lives while allowing other people's opinions or other people's perspectives
Yeah.
to determine how our lives are being run.
Mhm.
In our old age, we're going to have lots of regret. That's just the way I'll put it, right?
Yeah.
So I've always encouraged people try doing things that would reduce the amount of regret in your old age. So forget about the hate and just do your thing.
Wonderful point. What is your take on growing a network intentionally? Like not just randomly adding people, but growing your people, growing your network.
That is a very, very, very cool question. Now, here's why I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything anyone is trying to achieve in life, be it LinkedIn, be it your career, investment, if there's no intentionality behind it, it just ends up being what it is. It just ends up being mediocre or just average, right?
Hmm.
So being very intentional with what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build before you start building is very crucial. And that's why I mentioned that before I work with anyone, I want to understand why are you doing what you're doing and what are you trying to achieve, right? So in my experience, when you find yourself being very intentional, you quickly will once you figure out the what, the how becomes simple. So what I mean by that is once you figure out, okay, what is it that I'm trying to be intentional about? Okay, I'm trying to be intentional about showing up as a professional that helps XYZ people do XYZ things to achieve XYZ results.
Yeah.
The next question is, okay, how can I do it? So it just naturally allows you position yourself in ways that aligns with your end goal,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, and I think it also keeps you going. Like when your what is clear, you know what you're trying to achieve. And even if
exactly.
sometimes you're experiencing burnout or you're experiencing demotivation,
Yes,
keep
exactly. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Yes.
love it. Commenting and engaging, what do you think really moves the needle, or is it just the hype?
Hmm. Before this year, I always thought commenting was just something that you should just do, like just get it done and just go away, right?
Hmm.
But ever since LinkedIn started putting impressions to comment, I knew the landscape had changed. So
Yeah.
what do I mean? Normally before 2025, if you comment on someone's post, say for example, you make a post and make a comment on your post, all that happens is people just will like it or whatever, respond, whatever it is. But now in recent times, when people interact with that post, it would show me the amount of impressions that
Yes.
I get on
Yeah.
that singular post. So a good example is one of the things or one of the strategies that I use is when I comment on big content creator posts that
Hmm.
have like maybe hundreds of thousands or 100,000 or thereabout. The first time I did it intentionally, I realized that I had about 20,000 impressions
No kidding.
on
Wow.
the comment. Right now, I saw one I had, was it last 2 weeks? And I had about 54,000 impressions on the
Dang.
comment, right? And before I can get 54,000 impressions on my actual post, it takes a lot, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So definitely anyone that is sleeping on the commenting game, I'll really encourage them to really be intentional about it because LinkedIn it's really rewarding comments that stand out, that make sense, and
Hmm.
so yes, it's
Love
it's
it.
it's
Do you have any tips on boosting those impression counts
impressions on the comments, correct?
on the comments?
Okay, so the different. There is no one size fits all kind of approach, right? But from my experience, here's what I've noticed, and it's just based on human psychology, right?
Hmm.
One of the things I noticed is when something is presented to any human being, and that idea is likened to something or is compared to something,
Hmm.
it's very easy for them to understand it. So, for example, if someone made a post on something like 7 reasons why people pleasing leaders are toxic,
Hmm.
just for example, 7 reasons why people pleasing leaders are toxic. If I'm going to make a comment on that post, I could say something along the lines of people pleasing leaders or people pleasing managers are similar to tire kickers or time wasters
Hmm.
because they end up killing morale and killing creativity. So
Yeah.
what I just did in that moment is I took the subject of what is being spoken on and
Yeah.
I compared it to something else, which
Hmm.
is very relatable and easy for people to understand. And once people are able to relate to what you're saying in your comment, that's that's how the impressions run up because they either like it, they respond to it, they engage with it. So when I comment, I try to make my comment extremely relatable.
Yeah. And logical.
100% relatable and logical. And that's what really gets people to engage with it and helps with the impressions. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think on LinkedIn keywords and optimizations really matter?
Keywords in terms of what aspect, sorry?
Like keywords or like hashtags or using
Hmm. Hmm.
those kind of words or catchy words in your.
What I would say is probably yes before the invent of AI and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But now that there's a lot of AI out there that helps people create content and all that, I don't think the platform is really trying to tell more who uses more catchy words or who's more intelligent or who's not intelligent because everyone sounds very intelligent right now.
Yeah.
So there is no real look for that. But
Yeah.
prior to that, yeah, hashtags were really a good one and also using those keywords. But I wouldn't say if anyone is thinking of trying that out, they shouldn't go ahead with that. But me personally, I don't use hashtags anymore, or neither do I try to stress much on catchy words. I just focus on the message I'm trying to convey while I also leverage my AI tool in the process. Yeah.
Interesting. We talked about AI with nowadays AI tools writing the posts.
Hmm.
How do you think we can keep our content human?
That's a very, very good question. So there are different ways, from my experience or from my opinion, there are different ways people can leverage AI to create a post, right? So it, the easiest route is you could just give it a prompt. I want you to write a post on boom, 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 do this, do this. It gets to the post, right? That's one route. Another route is you could have your own story, like have a draft or have an idea of what exactly you want to say. Give it that draft or give it that copy to work on, refine it, and reproduce it. That's one option. Or another option is you try to create the post yourself, like create it, edit it, make sure it's perfect before you give it to AI to actually do the final touches, right? And for me, I try to always follow the path of least resistance. So I don't go for the bottom. I don't go for the third one or the first one. I go for the second one. So I always have my own unique stories I always leverage my unique stories, my unique perspective, or my unique opinions. I have that as a framework or as a schedule structure. I add as much details I want to add to it, and I give it to the perfect guy to do his job. And when
Mm.
it comes out, I still make my edits, add what I want to add, make sure it appears the way I want it to appear,
Yeah.
or I put it out there. So my opinion on that would be trying to stay humane and relatable is one of the good ways to ensure you still have that or retain that personal touch while still leveraging AI. Because I wouldn't sit down for hours racking my head. I would use AI. There's no way, right? Because it saves time and energy. But I will always put my unique perspective, put in my stories to make it peculiar and unique to myself.
Hmm. Interesting. I know we have time crunch, but last couple of questions, real quick.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn headline, should it be professional or like playful?
That's a wonderful one. So for me, I would say just be yourself.
Just be yourself. Perfect.
100% be yourself. If you want to be cool, if you want to be professional, if you want to be whatever it is you want to be, just be yourself because there's only one you and there's no one else trying to be you, right? So don't stress about it.
Interesting. Love it. Emojis in posts. You think we should use them or no? Or it doesn't matter?
For me, when I see emojis, it's a quick giveaway for me. It's a quick giveaway to know that a post was purely created by AI without any edit. That's the way I see it from my perspective, right? Emojis are not bad. It's okay. It's cool, but I don't use them on my post, right? Because I try to convey the feeling through the message,
Mm.
not through the emojis. But people that use it doesn't mean what they're doing is wrong, but it's just a personal preference. Whatever works for you, whatever works for me, I know work for them, and vice versa, right? So that's the way I see emojis. Even my comments, I try not to use emojis also.
Okay, perfect. One last question. What's that one cringe thing that you think people should stop doing on LinkedIn?
One cringe thing we should stop. Okay, I'll say one and probably maybe give an extra one. So the first one would be when you when someone connects with you on LinkedIn and the first thing you say is, "Oh, hey, hi, nice to connect with you. I'm not trying to sell you or pitch you on anything. However, I would love you to check out XYZ." You literally just pitch your product to me, right? So why are you trying to sound like you're cool? If you want to sell, sell, and if you don't want to sell, don't sell, right? So one criteria will be just asking for something upfront without earning the right to ask for it.
That's a good
Right?
one.
You cannot ask for something you don't have the right to ask for. And that's one thing I learned while I was in sales, right? When you're trying to get across to a prospect, you don't just reach out to them telling them, hey, even though you know they have a problem, you know you have the solution to their problem. You just
Yeah.
can't show up telling them, hey, I have a solution. Come check it out. No. Even if it's the best solution to them and it will save them thousands of dollars, nobody wants to listen to you
Yeah.
until you show them you are interested in them. Because people are only interested in people that are interested in them. And the only way you can be interested in them is by simply mentioning things that are of value to them
Yeah.
or things that makes sense to them before you ask for anything. Value first, ask later.
Value first and ask later.
Correct.
That's an amazing line to end this episode today here. Uchenna, thank you so much for joining me today. It was lovely, quick, insightful conversation with you. I
The
hope
pleasure
we
is mine.
do part two of this one.
100%. Yes, I'm always available and I'm more than happy to come back and do this another time. Yes.
Perfect. It was real fun. Do you have any last message for our listeners today?
Uh, First of all, thank you so much, Harjit, for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. And to the audience listening to this, all I want to say is thank you for tuning in. If you want to give me a follow, check me out on LinkedIn. If you have any questions or whatever you want to get clarification on, let me know in the DMs on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to provide value to you. But aside that, I hope you're doing well. Stay safe, and God bless. Yeah.
Perfect for everyone listening. If you have
Yeah.
been sleeping on your LinkedIn game, now is the time to step it up. Take that headline, engage with purpose, and show up consistently because your next opportunity might already be watching. Thanks for tuning in to Think Through. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, share, and leave a quick review for us. See you next time.